Well, gosh, we're so excited to have you guys here today. Just in case someone just chimed in, you're at the Equity Action Network team. I introduce myself. Ida Mercier, Director of Network Engagement for Growing Inland Achievement. And I have the honor not only to work with many of you and others that weren't able to attend today as part of the Action Network teams, but honestly, it's an honor to have Dr. LaTanya Parker with us today. She's one of our co-chairs. And you just heard from our second co-chair, Dr. Talisa Sullivan from Riverside County Office of Education, if you had the opportunity to catch our Ignite videos. But if you didn't, because some of us are trying to log in here or not, everything is recorded. We'll get it out to all our attendees. And really those videos just highlighted all the ads. So if you missed it and want to learn a little bit more, that's a great way to do that. Today, with our intentions with the equity ad highlights are to really just give you a little glimpse of the hard work that has taken place in the last 12 to 18 months, specifically in the last 12 months, with everything else we faced, the COVID, what we thought would be post-COVID and, still COVID, and then the social pandemic as well. And so, GIA could not be any prouder of the network that we serve and that we get the privilege to work with. And so with that being said, I'm going to hand out to LaTanya to share a little bit more what that looks like and some of the tactics the team developed over the last 12 months.
So good afternoon, all. My name is LaTanya Parker. I'm counseling faculty with Riverside Community College District. I serve, as Ida has stated, as co-chair of the Equity and also serve with the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges as the Area D representative. And joining me on today is also Nicole, and she'll introduce herself prior to our beginning.
Hello, I'm Nicole. I am from GIA and I'm the coordinator of finance and operations.
Thank you, Nicole. And I see we have some other committee individuals who are in this space on today, and we're going to also welcome you into the conversation along with the questions attendees have on today. I'm going to start by pulling up my PowerPoint, so just give me a brief moment here. Am I sharing or no?
You're good now.
I know there was some popping in and popping
out. A little delay, so you're good.
Okay. And so we only have a brief moment with you, so we are here to tease you and inspire those of you who are not involved to get involved with this Equity Action Network team of amazing individuals. And we want to start off with you understanding our why. As I stated, I am a counseling faculty member, which means not only do I confirm and reconfirm and evaluate and assess my why, I also help other individuals as their success coach begin to define and understand their why. And I've gravitated personally to the Equity Ad because the Equity Ad understands its why and also has a perspective for all who just come in early or late or in the middle of the work. You're going to understand the why of the Equity Ad, and you're going to have the big picture in mind and forward thinking. So our three primary areas of focus includes communications and outreach, development of an equity continuum tool. I didn't have the opportunity to see Talisa's session of video with you, but I'm sure I am echoing some of the same things she has stated within that video. And last but not least, one of our primary areas includes our efforts to diversify the teacher pipeline. The information shared on today, you can follow up with on our website or the GIA website. See how much I feel like I'm a part of this, the GIA website. And so, of course, with the communication and outreach, our underlying goal is to advance the Inland Empire Black Student Success Collaborative working groups. That's one of our goals, functioning areas. So we have action-oriented areas within the region, and we have individuals who serve as leaders with our committee. So as we collectively impact this region of impacting Black excellence and student success throughout the region, we are collaborating with them at Cal State University, San Bernardino. And part of our agenda includes the updates and what's happening within that organization. I pause just in case some of my team and collaborative leaders would like to expand on that. I don't know if we have someone who is part of that collaborative in this space, but definitely if you are here, chime in. Again, another tease and a look at our goal and our why is the development of a equity continuum tool. Can I say we are so involved and invested as leaders that we have been working throughout the summer on our continuum tool. And you're saying to yourself, what are you talking about, Dr. Parker? Why a continuum tool? So glad you asked the question, because we have designed and put forth the efforts to support our region and educational institutions to take an inward look and examine their current organizational culture and structure. And so we're looking at all organizations, not just K through 12, not just the community college, but the four-year private organizations and nonprofits alike. And so you can only imagine the getting to the how of the why in the work that's taking place. And I believe I saw some individuals who are helping us with these efforts in this space, and you are more than welcome to chime in. I can't see your faces, so if you want to chime in, just unmute your mic and chime in.
Yeah, we're in a regular Zoom, so it works. Anybody can talk. Feel free to turn on your videos.
Well, hi, everyone. Hi, Latanya. This is
Hi, Christy.
From RCC. I'll just chime in. The significance of the continuum is that it helps us know what to do next, right? How to have the conversations and how to focus the dialogue. So some institutions might be well-versed in equity when it comes to providing some type of one-on-one support, as an example, for students or clients who come in the services, but they might have just begun in terms of actually reviewing their policies and practices with an equity lens. And so the continuum will be a tool for that type of assessment to help organizations and institutions move forward. And then specifically for community colleges, that's where I am. The continuum is a way to support our state required through both the legislature and through California community college system equity plans, which is what we have at the community colleges. And so the continuum is a way, again, of helping us identify where the obstacles are in even fulfilling our equity plans, because many of us have run into the persistent conundrum of ideals versus, practicalities. And so hopefully this tool will give us an opportunity to have those conversations about what's keeping us from reaching ideals in some respects.
Thank you so much. Is there another? Thank you, Christy.
I just have a couple of words I'd like to say, Dr. Parker. I think that the best part of the equity continuum is what many of you have been talking about, is the identification of what are the next steps that organizations or institutions should do based on where they are, right? We have so many tools out there that say you're good here, you're not so good here, but there's not a tool that's really focused on that next step. And I really am very pleased by your vision in that direction. The other piece that I think is going to be hugely valuable with this equity continuum is the way that you have set it up and such that organizations and institutions can actually identify their own sets of dimensions to think about, right? You know, the tool says you can look at this sort of thing and this sort of thing, like facilities, right? You can look at these sort of things, but the tool invites you to identify some additional dimensions that are important to you. And what that does is that it creates the opportunity for discussions about equity in the institutions and the organizations, which is what so many of you say is the most important thing that we could do with any kind of work like this. So, you know, I imagine that in 10 years that, you know, there'll be a process that this group would identify for adding additional dimensions, you know, kind of creating like a living tool that adds strength as more and more organizations go forward. And I look forward to having GIA be one of the pilot or institutions or organizations that uses the equity tool, and so that we will identify our dimensions and then begin to roll forward in that space. So then Dr. Parker and all of the rest of the team there at the Equity Ant can give us feedback too. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may just add real quick too, I love Latanya's contaminating energy about teasing, but really I know we've talked about this continuum a couple of times out throughout the day. I promise you're going to get more information. We actually have our partners that have been able to help us, and we were able to contract to the Gates support to help us do this work over the summer. We'll be presenting tomorrow, and within that there'll be, you know, an invitation for early adoption. There'll be an invitation for engagement. So stay tuned. We have a lot more to come for that. And we'll share on that tomorrow. So don't miss that session.
Amazing. What other work are we doing? What is our why? Definitely we're looking again at diversifying the teacher pipeline. So we're looking at what are the efforts to promote equity in our region around increasing the number of instructors of color in our educational institutions in the Inland Empire. And what does that look like? And so our purpose, another attractive point for me and many others who gravitate to the Equity Ant is the understanding we have a purpose and a mission. And so we have a shared ownership or leadership. Everyone's voice matters. Everyone is part of the decision-making process in the whole purpose of GIA, as well as the Equity Ant, and to increase the connections between the GIA and other networks and key partners, as well as to increase GIA's sense of relevant work across the region. So our work is the work of GIA, and it's not separate. And in doing so, we align our obligations to the work of GIA, and we have a strategy and learning process. And I'm not going to go over all the details which are highlighted here, but know that we have certain roles and strategies that align with the goals and the missions of GIA. And so, of course, if you haven't heard already, there are 5 goals alignment in terms of our region and increasing educational attainment, excuse me, being efficient and effective in our efforts around quality higher education and the systems within our region, building equity structures in education to eradicate systemic racism in K-12 and higher education, as well as the partnerships that we have, the nonprofit and profit alike, and definitely our underlining goal of the creating a better future for our economy with increased equitable career opportunities, employment for those who reside within our region. And that includes the final goal of eliminating the wealth disparity and income disparity and poverty gaps, which are within our region, disproportionately impacting the individuals of color. And so in getting to our Equity Act, what it is about Equity Act, which makes it so amazing, and they do not pay me for this volunteer work. I am really sold out for Equity Act, and I've watched the organization grow for a number of years before becoming actively a part of it. And part of that attraction for me is the ability to slow down and pause to make sure those who are in the space and those who connect and network with the equity and understand the language of the equity and with that, they devoted so much time and attention to defining, right? What does equity mean? And I'm sure many who are here in this space today understand the numerous meetings you have had around what does it mean to be equitable and equitable outcome. So we've defined that, and we define equity as fairness and justice for all in educational institutions across the Inland Empire. And how do we achieve that? By eradicating systemic barriers while building resources and intentional strategies so that historically marginalized individuals can reach their full potential for educational success, career attainment, and community excellence. I pause for comments.
Can I ask a quick question, Dr. Parker?
Absolutely.
I think this was already gone over. I may have missed it. So the Continuum app, I'd love to share that with our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I know they would love to see that. Is it up and running right now, or is it not?
I can help you with that one, Latanya, if you like. No, it is not up and running yet. You guys will be able to see or hear about a preview of it tomorrow. And then what we hope to be able to accomplish and still fine tuning is the early adoption process. And in all transparency, we initially thought of, and we're going to develop this. We worked hard over the summer, and then what, right? And initially it was, okay, we're going to deploy it. But then as we started getting closer to the final meetings, a lot of the group feedback was, is that the right step? Or do we need to test some things and even support those who want to become early adopters to be able to provide and capture, where is there areas of still opportunity, or what did that look like in their institution? So more to come on that, but we will provide an opportunity to register if you're interested in being an early adopter. Whether we decide to go that route or just go ahead and open it to everyone, we want to make sure that we capture those that are interested. And I'd love to invite, any others that have been part of what that looks like, to share why we even thought about that, why we thought early adoption might be a better way to go. And then really GIA wants to be able to support the region in its implementation process, because what we're hearing from each of you and our region is that that's hard work. And what they don't want is just another checklist. They don't want another tool that's going to get shelved. They really want the accountability component behind the scenes and in the forefront, whether it's from the top down or middle up and down, but we want to make sure it's a living and continuous evolving document that, really ensures action, accountability, and effectiveness. And so we'll share a little bit more about that, but I'll add our contact information on here. So you're welcome to send me an email. I'll make sure we add you to the list, whatever way we decide to go.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. That was a good question. And so our common language also includes us, and I'm not going to read this just for the sake of time, and you can refer back to our online information, but we have a team vision. So we understand the economic prosperity needed in our region, and we are willing to do the work through a strategic method within our equity act. We also have common understanding. And what do you mean by that, Latanya? That means we have a tactical plan, and our tactical plan, we operate in a community of love, intentionality, accountability, right? Persistent, action-oriented measures are embedded within our tactical plan, which you also can follow up reviewing on the website. So we have Tactic 1, which is to design and implement an equity-focused and equity-minded communications and outreach strategies, and a plan to create a community-wide college-going culture in the Inland Empire. So having organizations be prepared for students instead of the other way around. Tactic number 2, designing a regional equity rubric or screen for partner self-assessment and action. And then prior to we're going to leave time for our Q&A within this session. And so we have about 8 minutes left. And so our area of growth now is inviting more voices to the table, collaborating with many partnerships within our region, which is in alignment with our plan of action. And so we're looking for key stakeholders whose work aligns with the regional goals, who are not on GIA's board or fitting into the categories in which we've identified, who are possibly within this space, or you know someone, invite them to our equity act. We do have in our operation of love, which makes this a gravitating point for me, is the consistent progression, action-oriented meetings that we have, right? And they're personable. They're personable enough for people to feel comfortable sharing the work that they do and inviting them as a unique individual into that space. And I am going to have Nicole also chime in about her experience in terms of being a part of the equity. And I'm calling her out. Yes, I am. Because she is so valuable. And we were dialoguing. I want her to share with you all in this
Thank
space.
you. Yes, absolutely. I echo that. It's definitely a safe space to share your thoughts and experiences. And as I was chatting with Dr. Parker earlier, I came from a legal background, and which also has a different experience, but it also means you don't have to have experience in the educational sector to be a part of the equity ant. So that's also something that we wanted to let everyone know, that you don't have to have that direct educational experience.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
You are welcome.
And I am always mentored by the leadership of Ida and Anne-Marie in terms of how they model and how they demonstrate what we are looking forward to doing within the region. So if you're looking for a model around equity, look to the GIA and the structure that is in place. And I've shared with the leaders in terms of how else, excuse me, I'm getting accustomed to some new braces, work with me. But how else can you get individuals who are already invested in so many roles and responsibilities to volunteer to continue to do more work, right? And it is, and whoever, I don't know if it's you, Carlos, but whomever is responsible for identifying Ida and Anne-Marie, as part of this organization, you have done a tremendous job, because I really commend them and the work of the Equity Act. So thank you. Okay, that's enough of my soapbox. Others may share. But it's an amazing group, and I love the action.
Thank you, LaTanya. We have a student joining us today too. We also, like she said, we have other members. So this is really open. We have 5 minutes left if anyone else has questions or feedback. And the story of Anne-Marie and I will have to be for another time, because it's quite an interesting one. So, but nevertheless, we're so extremely proud and honored to be part of the network. So I want to leave some time for any questions that either of you may have or comments.
I did have a question. I threw it in the chat.
Okay, let's.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. I said, as a student, can students sit on the equity ant? If so, I'm so interested.
Yes, we always invite students, and actually, I like to call it phase 2. But Angela actually is an intern for GIA this summer, and was very diligent assisting me specifically in what I call the mapping process for our ants. And so those of you who have been with us from the beginning, initially it was very organic, come one, come all. And we realized that there needs to be more intention, right? Because we're all so busy. So Angela helped me really map out who were stakeholders, who was at the table, and who was still needing to be at the table. And so between now and our first meeting for 21-22, which is in October, we're going to do a lot of reaching out to increase that attendance. even more. But our phase 2 inclusiveness is going to be around students. We want to include the student voice and really capture that and use them as a sounding board, but also to go back to the institution and their peer groups to kind of shine a little bit of, sometimes students tell us like, we didn't even know there was so many people working so hard behind the scenes for our success. Why don't we know that? And so even just sharing that and contaminating them with that positiveness and inclusion, I think is going to go a long way. So yes, Angela, stay tuned. Thank you for your commitment already.
Absolutely. You know, I'll sign up for anything that has to do with student equity.
Yeah,
My name is written all over it.
we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions, or if you guys just want to share some of your personal experiences, we have 3 more minutes.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, I mean, I've only just begun to like really understand the Action Network teams, but all areas are important, but I think equity is extremely important, you know, especially with all the crazy stuff that's happening just in our nation alone. And the conversation of underserved communities always comes up. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, housing, education, food insecurities, it always goes back to the same population. So to know that just in the Inland Empire and close to me, there are, you know, professionals like yourselves working on that, it's very admirable. And I'm really excited to hopefully get a couple of our team members from the university actively engaged in this very important conversation. So thank you.
Thank you.
How do people sign up? How do people sign up, Ida?
So we, on our website, and I think that's being shared out in this opportunity today, that we have like connecting section, and within that you'll see all our Action Network teams, and you can go to each one and it says learn more and just put in your information, and you'll be able to get not only our newsletter, but it actually goes directly to me. So if you want to learn more, it comes right to my inbox, and then we'll set up a one-on-one, get you as much information as you like up front and get you engaged. So, you know, I take personal commitment and pride in really putting time every day into the outreach portion of my job, and to looking out for others that can really connect and help us move this work forward. Because when you hear us talk about the network and it's really, you know, GIA is almost as behind the scenes. It's really the voice of all of you and the priorities and the work you each bring forefront that helps us do the work in the region. So without your voices and your passion for this work and student success, GIA would be very different. So it's truly from the heart every single day is a true collaboration in our work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sorrel, my partner here, put my email too. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. And I see Ida put her contact information in the chat. You all have my contact information under the attendees who are participating. So you can connect with me. I'm also at Moreno Valley College.
Awesome. And we finished on time. Yay.
Of course.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Latanya,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Christy,
you all.
for your engagement and commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you.